Stowe Foundation's focus is really in building healthy communities by working with families and working with children, and also equipping mental health professionals to do that work with them. And so we felt that a focus on bullying today would really promote the kind of awareness that practitioners and family members will need to protect our children and also to give them some very healthy outlet. We understand that bullying is not just about one child's nightmare, but also another child's outlet. And oftentimes we focus on the victim, but we'd also like to give some awareness around what's happening with the perpetrator in a bullying situation. It's about power, it's about control, and it's about being able to express yourself in ways that are healthy.
Because there are three critical features. One is that it's aggressive behavior that's intentional, and so that would cut out behaviors that might be accidental that occur. Sometimes it takes a little bit of discussion around that, because you might get a group of kids that say, oh, I didn't mean to hurt their feelings, or I just posted that, didn't really thinking that. But there's quite often an intent behind that, even if it is to put someone else down for self-entertainment. Behavior that's repeated over time, sometimes this can be a little confusing, because you say, well, somebody that posts something on the internet just one time, is that really repeated? But if it's sent to others or given the distribution, it could certainly be repeated and have a significant impact there. But one critical feature is really about the power imbalance, where there's an individual that is of higher status. That could be physical characteristics, whether they're larger, or it could be a social status, which is most often the case there. But even though we've had this definition or these critical features since the early 1990s, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta is currently working with the U.S. Department of Education and several different researchers, myself included, really to try to refine this definition and say, is this really encompassing everything that we're seeing that youth are involved in related to bullying? And does this really characterize some of the challenges that we're facing, especially when we consider cyberbullying or electronic forms of aggression?
I'm in the process of starting a bullying program in my school to implement why it's wrong to bully.
Amen.
That's a golf clap? That gave me a golf clap. That's a real clap. How old do you say?
12.
Oh,
What?
wow.
12. On your feet. She's 12 years old. That's the encouragement that's needed. She could be doing a lot of other things besides what she's doing.
Yeah. That's right.
Good afternoon. My name is Misty Fay. I'm the Executive Director of the Conflict Resolution Center of Baltimore County, and we have a program called Community Conferencing, which brings together everybody who's involved in an incident of conflict so that they can sit down and talk about what happened, how they've been affected by it, and what they want to do to resolve it and stop it from happening anymore. We see a lot of bullying cases, or incidents of assault, really, that started out as bullying.
Hello, I'm Brian Ross. I work for Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. I co-facilitate an after-school program called the YAC Youth Advisory Committee, where we work with inner-city youth from grades 9th to 12th. We pretty much try to give them an alternative and an outlet instead of being out in the streets and doing anything they could be doing negative. So that's pretty much right here.
Okay, good.
Have you ever been bullied? One. And then have you ever been the bully? If you ever been bullied, please stand. Bullied, please stand. I had as well. You might not think it now that I'm 6'3", 230 pounds, but I wasn't always 6'3", 230 pounds. All right. If you have been the bully, please stand. Put my hands up as well. It's a very, very strong statistical information about the people who have, as we all know the old phrase, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people work in human services, social work, hurt people hurt people. People who have been bullied more than likely will lash back out. If you can tell me about your high school career, if you have been bullied or if you've been the bully, what that was like. I'll start with you.
Well, fortunately, first let me tell you, I grew up in a household where we had domestic violence. Okay, so I grew up, growing into that. So as I got into the teen years, the domestic violence stopped. Folks finally did what they had to do, got away from each other, which stopped that. But at the same time, the scars are still there, and because of that, fortunately, I got into the martial arts pretty young, So I've been able to train, so therefore, I've never been bullied other than my years at home in school. So, it gave me that kind of confidence where I was lucky enough not to have been through but it's a whole different thing when you get that certain confidence when you go into schools and people see you. And it's one of the things that I'll never forget. One of my first instructors told me is once you learn to defend yourself, you'll never have to fight. And the thing is, and it's very true, and you never have to go prove that you have to beat anybody up or do anything like that. It's just one of those things with your confidence, people see it. And like I said, I was fortunate enough to never be a bully or bullied.
I'm thankful for you, because I could have used you, because I definitely was on one end of that. And honestly, truthfully, I want to come to Sage next. I know I talked about high school. My bullying happened in middle school. Anybody else? My bullying happened in middle school. Statistics show that most bullying starts in middle. Sage, you're in middle school, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about middle school and bullying.
Well, it started last year when the name calling and the rumors and how people were talking about how they were going to beat me up over something that I told them. And what my strategy was to pull them out of their comfort zone, which was their peers. I pulled them out the classroom with the teacher to be a witness as to what happened, and I talked to them in front of the teacher.
Okay. You talked about being affected by domestic violence at home, and one of the risk factors they talk about for being bullied is that I found online, and also this CDC was harsh parenting by caregivers. Is a risk factor for being bullied.
Could I ask Sage a question?
Sure.
Excuse me, what was it about, did you get some training that made you feel like that was the strategy, that you just went to the teachers and, because sometimes you would think that that would cause you to be bullied even more. So what was it that made you feel like that's something you could just do? Because most students wouldn't think that way.
When I joined the Guardian Angels in February, it boosted my confidence. So I wasn't worried about whether I was going to get bullied again. I was just trying to stop the person that was bullying me at that time.
So I think the thing that I resonate with you, and I wish I had had your courage as a young person, because I feel like bullying, and I know my experience of bullying when I was in high school was an isolating experience. I didn't feel like I had the power to reach out to anyone and say, someone needs to stop this. I grew up in a very small community that was very rural, and everybody knew everybody's everything, right? So there was no place to go. Like, there was no sense of feeling like there was a person you could trust to go and talk to without having the whole thing get bigger and spread. And I don't think that that's necessarily something that only happens in rural communities, because I think it's the same thing that I see every day. That there's a certain group of people, and as a young person, you don't feel like you can go beyond those people. It's hard to reach out past them. And I think one of the things that's most damaging is when adults tell children just to ignore it or to turn away. And I think if I had had the opportunity to have someone saying to me, speak up, use your words, talk about it, then maybe things would have been different, but they weren't. And that's how my bullying happened, because one person found out something about me that people shouldn't know.
See, but that,
And it goes.
and with that, it probably, I'm not going to assume your age, but I'm pretty sure that was snail mail at that time. But now, we can leave out of here right now. We can leave out of here right now, and everything that was said here could be for the whole world to see before you even get to your car. I heard you was excellent. Just that fast. The world is totally different.
Can I say one
Please
last
do.
thing? No, I'm sorry. I think, and then what happened is then I became the aggressor after that.
More than like hurt people.
Especially to my younger brother. So, yeah, not so much outside of my family, but I was very mean to my brother.
So now he's looking for you.
Yeah, unfortunately made up, but,
Cool. Mr. Brian Ross, how was your high school experience?
Fortunately, by my size, I was always probably in the top 5 of the biggest people in the class. So
You the people that was beating me up there.
Nah, actually, by me coming from such a loving and caring home, me picking on people that wasn't how I interacted with people, you know? So by me being big, the actual bullies always accepted me and hung around me, but at the same time,
Man, you the muscle.
me being cool with everybody else, it kind of put a stereotype and a stigma on me. He's hanging with the bullies, but he's also cool with everybody else. So what is he doing? Is he playing both sides of the fence?
Wow.
It wasn't.
And I think there's another phase that we need to talk about as well. There's the victim, and I'm coming, the bully, and the bystander. We never really think about the bystander and how it affects them. I did a presentation on, on bullying for Carroll County, and it was very interesting how bystanders are affected. And we want to get into that as well. First stage, I want to come back to the difference. I'm going to ask the audience that we have out here, do they think that boys and girls bully differently?
I think the young ladies, they had their little cliques,
Uh-huh.
and they will exclude.
Isolation.
Yeah, that's one of the ways, like making people feel, making other little girls feel uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
That's one example that I can.
Another, and I know the ladies all shaking their heads, that's why I'm really trying to educate from another perspective. Give me a man with another idea. Yes, sir.
About their niceness, they know how to feel another woman up because they're a woman.
The Trojan horse. I'm going to be your friend and know all your business, then I'm going to tell it. Okay. Anything else? Another way is the ladies, they do the Trojan horse. They'll try to befriend you and then tell all your business. They'll isolate you. There'll be situations where they exclude you from the group or nobody talk to this person. Anybody seen the movie Mean Girls? And it's so funny that behavior continues on because I do work with the state's attorney's office, and women are vicious. Women are vicious. It's night and day when men get into assaults. Unfortunately, somebody might die, but women do things like throw bleach in each other's eyes. I read it all the time, unfortunately. Give me a lady who thinks how they know how men bully. Yes, ma'am. And I'm going to come to your question.
I find that some of the boys that I work with in the schools, they do a lot of name calling. They also use their physical body.
Aggression.
Right. They may not even touch you, but they'll do this to teachers and kids, other peers, and they'll invade your space. Very harsh words, do threatening, also the violence.
Okay. All of those things. Yes, ma'am.
Jokes.
Jokes. It started as a joke.
It starts as a joke.
And there's always some truth in a joke.
Yes, and then it becomes offensive.
And then next thing you know, we got some furniture moving.
Yes. And they roll.
Yeah,
There's a number of times I intervene. Yeah, I mean, I think people who bully have they're insecure about something, and they take it out on other people because they can't really match what they sell. So it's been times where I've gotten to disagreements and not physical confrontations, but battle of the words with bullies, because if I'm friends with somebody that's not popular or anything and you're bullying him, I'm gonna tell you about yourself. And you may not like it, but it's the truth. And a lot of people don't like the truth.
Really, it's really a cover for some folks. Like you're talking about people having low self-esteem, something else, low IQ, poor academic performance. And a lot of times for some people, it's just situations that are going on in their home and they don't know how to handle or how to deal with. You have situations where people might come from a home where things might be a little tight when it comes to finances. I don't have the new clothes. That's why I'm so glad the school system went to uniforms. They might not have the newest Jordans. They might not have access to some of those things. So now I turn the tables. I turn my deficit into a plus. So now I just become hyper aggressive. So now I keep people off. My defense is my offense. I wanted to talk about something that Misty and Sage talk about, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows when I say these two words: stop snitching. How do you handle a situation where Al bullies Misty and you saw it? What do you